it was more computers that we needed today than we actually anticipated. So we're gonna continue like setting up some new computers, and then hopefully we'll resolve it next week. But yeah, until then you have to live with the slow and crappy computers. So sorry about that. I'm just gonna try to find the Chromecast.
We're not using Chromecast actually.
But it's plugged in.
Yeah, you can directly plug it in here right now. Yeah, Thunderbolt. You hijacked our screen.
Did I?
Did I?
Okay, so yeah, I guess we can start out with this, which is already obsolete because this totally didn't work like that. But I mean, yeah, I guess we kind of followed this plan anyways. So we already had the break, and then yeah, we go home at 4. And but you already know about that. That was just, I guess, at the beginning to give a bit of structure to the day. And then I don't know how much I've talked with all of you like individually on the phone about like where Hack Your Future comes from and like what it actually is, because I think some people ask some more questions, others ask less. But so if it's a repetition for some of you, then sorry about that, but I'll just go through it anyways. So you know, Hack Your Future started about 2 years ago in Amsterdam originally, so they kind of came up with the concept for it, and they've also been building the curriculum for the most part. And we started here in Copenhagen in March of this year, so we're relatively new actually. You might have met some of the other students now, so you know, the class that is furthest away, that the green room, they're finished with all their classes now, and they're starting to work on the final project now. So, you know, and then that's going quite well with them, and I think that's also great. Like if you want to talk with them, then they always have a good opinion on like how they learn certain things, like what obstacles they had. Because everyone runs into difficulties, it's a lot of information at first, and but then yeah, it's good now that you have a lot of people from different levels that you can also talk to, and yeah, so I hope you can mingle a bit with them during the break. Also about Amsterdam, like we work really closely with them, so and there's also Hack Your Future chapters in London, Glasgow, I think even Edinburgh as well, Manchester. Then there's one in Malmö just across the bridge, and there's also one in Athens. So it's like there's more and more people kind of doing the same thing, and like everyone gathers a lot of experience with it. So and we all work really close together. So like I really hope that this program also just gets better and better as we do it. But of course that's also largely your part. So I think for us it's really important that when you see that something isn't working, then you should tell that to us so we can try to make it better. I know the immediate input would be that the computers suck, but yeah, we'll sort it out hopefully as quickly as possible. And I don't know what else was there. How many of you have already looked at the curriculum on GitHub? If you found it.
It's a bit tricky to find it. That's a bit problem.
So if you looked today at the 2 links, any of the 2 links I posted in Slack, you looked at the curriculum.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's approximately what it looks like, and it's true. It is really confusing in the beginning. GitHub has a really particular structure to it, but you'll notice that in no time you get used to it. It's just, you will look at it and like fully understand it in 1 or 2 or 3 weeks or something. It's gonna make sense. And, you know, I think there's gonna be a lot of things that in a few weeks from now you will understand in a really different way, and I think that you'll start that kind of journey to become a developer where like so many things start to make sense, and you kind of see it differently than people, regular people, I guess. Then, and you have all the information about the program on there. I think one thing I should add maybe here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Hack Your Future here. The one you should be looking at is Hack Your Future CPH. I just was too lazy to exchange the screenshot because we started doing our own now, where it's like very accurate documentation of the classes that we do. So because we do some small things differently than they do in Amsterdam, but overall it's pretty much the same. Because I mean the work market or the job market in Denmark is slightly different from the one in Holland, so we teach slightly different things. Because like what we want to achieve in the end is also just to get you ready for the job market, to prepare you as well as possible for actually starting a job in Denmark. So like yeah, that's the goal that we all should have in mind. And maybe on a more general note, I should say we can't directly teach you everything. like we teach you how to learn these things yourself, and all of the mentors that you're going to meet, they're probably going to be able to answer all or most of your questions, or maybe all of your questions, but you have to ask those questions. So it's like, I think just by showing up to the classes, that it's not going to end up being enough to get a job afterwards. So it's not like when you go to school at the end of the year, you're done and you graduated, and then you get a certificate. That's not really how it works here. Like the real benefit you get from this is like what you actually build, the actual skills that you get for yourself, and the practice you have with it. So always keep that in mind. Like we're here to help, but we can't like all alone just teach you everything. So it's really, yeah, let's say 50% or more. It's your work that goes into it.
So we can struggle self so we can struggle self, yeah.
It's a self-study project, yeah.
I mean, that's also why there's a lot of homework every week. I mean, we have the sessions here, and they're quite intensive, and like you're probably already getting kind of tired because there's so much information. But then the homework or like the work that you do on your own at home, that's even more important, because practice is so important for learning coding, and it's really going to show after a couple of weeks to see like where you stand. Kind of cover that, I guess. Yeah, maybe about the curriculum again. So we have these 7 modules. So you're in the HTML and CSS module right now, obviously. Then we have one class that's at the end of this one, for instance, and then we have one class that's kind of here because they're done. Like they've learned all of these things already, and they're working on the final project now. But
that's the classes sitting in the other rooms here.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're all around. And then you can look at this red part as like the basics, perhaps. These 9 weeks of JavaScript are probably going to be the hardest of the whole program, because JavaScript is really difficult to learn in the beginning. I think everyone feels the same about it, that you feel like you're running against the wall and you can't get over it, but everyone has managed at some point. So it's just about like not giving up and just continue trying. It's like you're definitely going to be frustrated. If you don't get frustrated throughout the progress of this class, then you're doing something wrong, probably. So you should be, almost. Or you're like a complete genius, and then then you can go ahead and build the next Facebook, and please give us all that money, or at least a part of it. And yeah, so that's how it's going to work. And because we're a lot of people in this class, I think at some point, either at the end of this module or at the end of the JavaScript 3 module, we're going to have a small test to kind of see who can go further and who might have to retake the class. So it's like, you're never going to get kicked out of the program. Like once you've been accepted to the class, you can come back how many times you want. So it's just about if you're going to join the next class that's starting in February, that's class 5, or if you're going to continue with this one. So, and it shouldn't discourage you either. It's just sometimes you just need a little bit more time to like redo something. Yeah, I guess I addressed that briefly before. A lot of students sometimes ask like, okay, why am I here then if like all the information is actually online? Like, why don't I teach it to myself? And that it's totally true, because you can. And I think we're also just here to like show you how you can teach yourself all that. And I mean, you've all done the test at Khan Academy in the beginning, so you see like that's a huge resource that has a lot of topics on it. And theoretically, there's like all these other sources too, like Codecademy and Free Codecamp. There are a lot of people who just taught themselves web development all by themselves at home. But I think everyone's happy to have a group like this to work with other people, because you have the same problems at the same time. You can all talk together, and we have the Slack channel as a communication tool, and you have all the mentors. So I think that's a really big advantage as opposed to like teaching it to yourself. But I mean, if you want to teach it to yourself, that's great too. That's kind of what we're getting to. And then other ways in which we help you are, giving you a solid foundation. So if you want to Google a problem, you'll at least know which words to look for. So, we'll address certain concepts, and then you might not be able to remember exactly how a certain thing works, but you at least remember the names of it, so then you can Google it more easily. So I think that's one good thing. We're also gonna show you how like the IT professionals that are mentoring here, like how do they solve the problems in their daily life? Because I mean they work with it every day, and every developer has problems all the time too. So, but how do they solve it? It's like usually Googling and then going to Stack Overflow, finding the solution, and then continuing. So I think that's going to be really cool for you guys to see as well. Another big thing is your GitHub profiles. I don't think have you already set up GitHub profiles? Did I ask you that in the mail or did I not yet?
I've set it up, but it's hard to open it, how to use it. So that's
We'll go through this in the end of the class
Yeah.
today.
End of class.
Exactly. We'll address all of that, but GitHub, just in general, you can kind of consider like a LinkedIn for programmers, maybe. So it's like a professional platform where other people can see your code, and you can work on open source projects, and you can contribute to a lot of other projects, and it's a big community, and I think it is the most important platform for developers and also for employers that want to hire you. So at the end of this program, like the biggest goal is also to have you build some projects that are on your GitHub profile that companies can look at and say like, oh shit, this is actually great. This is great code. This person looks really capable. Let's invite them for an interview or something. But we also give you a certificate, but the certificate isn't really worth that much as opposed to your actual work. So you should always focus on your actual work that you did yourself, because with a certificate alone, if you go to a company in Denmark and say like, hey, I finished Happy Future, they're probably going to be like, what the fuck is Happy Future? So, we just don't have the size here yet. I mean, it's getting better, but I can't promise that a certificate from Happy Future will help you anything. So it's really about the work that you do yourself and those projects that are on GitHub. Then, of course, also, I think, so I'm not Danish myself. I moved here 5 years ago, and I mean, for me, it's a really different situation because I come from Germany. That's just across the border, and I knew some people here before, but all of the jobs that I got were always through like a network, like people that I knew from somewhere, or like I saw it on Facebook because a friend posted it, something like that. So getting jobs also has a lot to do with the network. So that's why it's really good that you get to meet some of the mentors that are actually professionals already. So because we have those 7 modules, 7 different topics, so to speak, and it's 2 teachers each, so you'll meet, at least 14 developers over the course of the next couple of months, and that's a good foundation for a network. And I mean, those are people that can recommend you afterwards, and they work in different companies, and so like that's one aspect of it as well. And then of course we can also recommend you if we can, if we think that we wouldn't recommend you, then that's bad. But I mean, I think that's quite easy for you to make a good impression to us by following some like basic rules, I guess. Namely, maybe in general you should look at Happy Future as an employer of sorts. So even though it's a very friendly environment here, and like we do give a lot of freedom, but it definitely makes a good impression on us if you're on time and if you do your homework. And if you can't be on time or can't do your homework, then at least let us know in the Slack channel or in a private message or something. Explain to us why you can't come, like you would in a job. Like if you can't show up to your job one day, like you wouldn't just not come. It's like you would call the boss and say like, hey, I'm sick today. I'm sorry, I can't come. And same with not being able to do your homework. I know sometimes you have busy weeks and or something unexpected happens and you just can't do it. That's completely understandable, but it really helps us if we know it in advance. And then, as the last thing, also that's quite important, like everyone that's here from the volunteers on Sundays, they're here on their free time, and no one gets paid. I get paid during the week, but not on Sundays. That would be too expensive, I guess, and not because I'm worth that much. I have to pay myself. I don't want to spend money on myself on Sundays. You know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, everyone's here on their free time, and like those guys, they work full-time jobs, so they're just here to help on their free time. So I think by being on time and doing your homework, you also show them that you respect their time, and I think that's really important. So keep it in mind. It's voluntary work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, we love to do it. Just be nice to the mentors mostly. And then a quick note about some partners that we have. For instance, in the same house here, there's a company called Refugee Entrepreneurs Denmark. So if you have a business idea or something and you want to like develop your own business, then that's a company you could talk to. Like they specialize on helping refugees and also asylum seekers, but it's a bit easier if you're a refugee because you have a CPR number and you can like set up a bank account and all that. But you know, like at some point, I guess you will get that CPR number. So that's a guy called Connor. He kind of talks a lot, but he's also charismatic and is a nice guy. But yeah, he really talks a lot. But that's a good thing if you're an entrepreneur, and he knows a lot about that, so he can help with that. Another organization that we work together with is Student Refugees. They are relatively new, but they kind of help people with a refugee background to get into the educational system in Denmark, because Denmark makes it way too difficult for people that are very qualified to get into an education. And I mean, some of you probably know that and like have had that experience, but yeah, from some of our previous students, we've also heard it. It's insanely difficult. There's so many obstacles, and it shouldn't be like that. And Student Refugees can help a little bit with that, at least.
Is that only for refugees or also for asylum seekers?
I think it's mostly for asylum seekers, mostly for refugees. I think they want to also help asylum seekers, but I think since they haven't done it that long, I would definitely try it.
Yeah.
I think.
I heard about asylum seeker you can also.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it also depends on the institution sometimes, because some institutions don't ask for a CPR number in the application process, so then you don't
Wait,
need it.
so this site is basically many institutions, or?
No, it is an organization that works together with the Danish Refugee Council, I think, to some extent, and then they have some connections with like ITU and DTU. So
So
I
they're
think-
kind of trying to organize, so they would try to help a person to get into the institution they want. So it could be Copenhagen University or some other university or study. So they are not one of the organized institutions. They are more like a middleman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Then, really importantly also, especially for the women, is Rails Girls. I think I can only warmly recommend that one. That's Nune, who organizes it in Copenhagen. Coincidentally, I'm mentioning it today. But yeah, like I think it's a really great environment to meet up at Rails Girls, and everyone can come there no matter what your level is. And you can always sit there with a group of other women, and there's some men there too, but it's mostly focused on women, and then you can work on projects, or you can work on your homework, or you can learn some new things from people who are more experienced. I don't know, like, do you want to add anything to that? Or?
Yeah, I will say for you here, I will say that you can see it as a homework cafe, because you will have homework every week, and sometimes it happens for everyone that you have a problem and you cannot solve it, and you can of course ask in Slack, and you can ask your mentors, but it's also really nice if you want to have a place where you do your homework.
It's only for the women.
It's mainly for women, but all of you in here are invited. I would love to see any of you come.
Yeah, I can really recommend it. I also try to go every time I can. And there's free pizza there and free drinks, so that definitely helps. I think. I mean, I only go for the free food personally, but it's also a nice working environment. And then I also noticed that I put this link in here, but my computer automatically made it to German. So, but you.
It might be because I signed up for a meetup while living in Germany.
Okay.
I'm gonna
It's
leave it.
possible, but so this is just one of the many many links that you can find for Rails Girls online. It's very confusing to figure out when it's happening, but you can just talk to Nune.
Yeah, you can talk to me, and I will post it in Slack. Again, Slack is where you get all your information, so I will post it whenever we have a new time to meet up.
Yeah, and then I guess those of you who already knows Lars and Majid, who come from Amstel, then you know those guys, of course. Like we're in touch with them too, and then you can refer to them at all times. You already know this, and this we don't need. that's all I wanted to say actually. So carry on. Or do you have any questions? I mean, now I just talked for a while without asking any questions or being open. You got to work?
And maybe I just want to introduce myself to, not I didn't do that already. I'm Maria, like many of you already know, and I'm working with Christopher as well. So I'll also be here on Sundays. I'm not a web developer. I'm developing other things. But so I'll be around, and it'll be. You can always also write me on Slack or write Christopher if you have any questions related to not so much the technical things, but other things related to agriculture. It's really nice to see you all.
Just a question out of the box.
Yeah.
Have you got any of the students who have been doing this course in the agriculture? How many of them got any offers or job or something like that?
Well, because we only started 7 months ago, like we are only at the beginning of that phase yet. So we had one company did it so far, and we were offered 2 internship spots, but actually the students didn't take it because they thought that they could find something better. And I recommended that to them too, because the internship that they were offered, it wasn't paid, which, you know, is kind of normal, but then it also didn't have a lot of support. So it's just like you get a big task, and then you're a bit alone with it, and only twice per week can they talk to a senior developer. And I think we would want to look for internships where you have someone that you can talk to every day. Because I think in the beginning, in your first job, it's a lot of stress and there's a lot of new things. So I think it's important that you have a good tutoring there.
Yeah.
But then we have another interview coming up in the end of November or the beginning of December. And then there's one more interview probably in January for different companies. So like we set up some, but that's just like the connections that we have. We like, send them some good applicants, and then we go together. Or, like, I help you with the application process a little bit. But once you're finished with the final project, you're also kind of applying for jobs yourself because then you have everything you need. And we also do workshops on like how should you
Maybe you
link
also
your
need to
like,
add them as
how
well
to
to the
structure your CV, how to behave
for me
in
it's
like
easier to
a
find
job
here.
interview in Denmark. You know, just
Make
like
sure
because
here,
there's certain like
so-
weird Danish work culture things that we realized that you need to address.
Yeah, that's not the
So because
point
like
is that you need to understand.
Danes would never say that they lie in a job interview, but you totally have to lie all the time. It's just like it's called
Your
not
reports,
telling,
yeah.
well, you know, like, telling a different version of the truth,
But,
something like that. But you know, we'll get to that in 6 months. So it's not lying. It's just
I need to read this actually.
making the truth a bit more flowery.
Sugar coating.
Sugar coating, exactly.
Did you, can you just invite them?
Sorry?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I can't, I don't think I'm part
I
of
can
organization.
do that. Yeah.
End up with what?
Oh, and this should be Hacker Future CPH.
Okay, I can later on today maybe go
There's
and edit
always
some stuff.
more to get.
Yeah.
And where are we going to get in this class?
To hurry up, I think. 50 minutes left. And
Okay,
have
so,
CSS to
uh,
cover. Let's get on.
We are teaching everything for
For
full
Chromecast?
stack developer.
But I
So
don't
that
only,
means that
I know how to do only a
most
web,
jobs they require
like
a
one,
stack.
one,
So
you could,
let's say HTML, CSS can be a part of the stack. So that's the thing they can see.
we need to, I'm second.
Then we also teach databases, which is on the server, getting information from the server, like different databases. And then there's frameworks that kind of connect the front end and the back end, like Node.js, and like so the things that we teach are React, Node, and databases, and JavaScript. So that all together is a stack. Would
Yeah.
you agree?
Yeah, that's the basic core of front-end development. If you know these languages, you can basically turn yourself into any direction you want. That's the core.
So there's a lot of other frameworks as well, but once you've learned one of them, then you can also learn the other ones quite easily. So like
Exactly.
we give you one version of it, or maybe so we teach you Latin, and then maybe later on you have to learn Italian and Spanish or something. But it'll be easier if you already know Latin
Yeah.
as like the root of it.
Okay.
You know? And yes, but you get an overview of all the elements that you need to work as a web developer, and then a little bit extra. But so that's kind of where you stand after the classes, and then you do that final project where you use all of the knowledge that you acquired, and then you have like a big tangible, like a project that you can actually see and touch and work with, and that's kind of your recommendation letter to companies. So that final project, that's really important.
Chris?
Yeah, I know I have to disconnect.
Yes, please. Oh.
Yeah. Maybe we do it in a minute. So the thing that's going to happen now is that we talk to you a little bit more about GitHub. A person raised that just a minute ago when Chris was presenting, and it's a really good point that we want to make sure that we show you a little bit more around GitHub, because you're going to use GitHub for your homework.
Because GitHub is to host the code. GitHub is a universal tool for pretty much everyone in the world uses to, whatever you develop, you put it there. It's not only just for hosting your code, it's actually for collaboration with other developers. But we'll get to that point later. Right now we're just going to learn how to use GitHub, upload your files, and we'll have to do this every week with your homework. Right? So
can I just see a show of hands? And it should be everyone's hands. Who has an account on GitHub?
Oh yeah. No, but it doesn't matter if you haven't created yet. We would like you to do it right now. Just go to github.com.
Did anyone not have it?
You all have an account on GitHub.
Yeah. Good.
Yes, everyone. Good. So
Very good.
start recording.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
start one.
Good. Should we just show GitHub? Your account, my account. It's gonna be your account. So maybe you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cookie.
Do you want to pull it up so I have the...
What? Oh, the curriculum? Oh.
Yeah. So this is, you see right here, this is how it looks when I have signed into GitHub. So I want all of you to open your browser and go to github.com, and if you have not signed in, sign in right now. Yeah. And back.
So, can you go to your account?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a bit minus. What? Is it so? Minus. I changed
Oh,
the
yeah.
English language.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see that? Your account is supposed to look something like this.
Yeah.
Your picture, your repos. Probably you don't have any right now.
Do you have to go to the profile?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just start
yeah,
to go to
exactly.
your profile. You can find it there.
So here, your profile, right? So this is my profile. Great. And what I want to do is I want to create a repository. And a repository, does anyone know what that means? It's fine if you don't. We can explain it. A repository, you're going to hear this word again and again and again because it means a collection of files. Today you made two files. You have an HTML and a CSS file. And if you have only one of the files without the other one, it's a little boring. If you only have the CSS file, you're not going to see anything. So those files go together. And they are, when you upload them to GitHub, it's a repository. So it's a collection of files that go together.
Like your project. So for each project you create, it's a nice thing to create a new repo. My project number 1 or something. So
I go to repositories here, and I'm going to click new.
give it a name. And in this case, we build a resume, right? Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Be wise with names because you might want to do a couple of resumes in the future. So, resume 2015, I don't know. It's up to you.
Should we go on?
Dash, you cannot use slash. It's going to change the dash.
Oh, yeah. So that. Oh. Oh. Oops. Do you wanna?
Cool. So homework. So it's up to you how to call your projects, but you know, it's your. So in this case, we're probably going to create a public project. So you want to allow other people see your code. You're creating something else. You could want to do a private project. But we're not going to do this. So just create a public project. In this case, description, you can add it or not. And you click. You don't want to add these files yet. You just want to click create a repository. That's about it. So now you have a repository where you can put your code into. And yeah, so there.
Did everyone do that? Did everyone just create a repository? I want to see hands. I created one. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Anyone questions?
But if I want to change the code, it's possible.
If you want to change what?
Change the code again.
The name?
Understand me? If I want to change the code,
Yeah.
Right now, say I'm not happy with this code.
Yeah.
If I want to change.
Yeah, you can always change
you
it.
can always change
That's the part of it. So it's when you create when you start your project. You create when you don't have anything in your code. You create it, you put it there, and every time you change it in your computer, when you're done working or when you're done finishing your feature, you push it there. You push it there and push it there. It's like a saving, as if your computer. Imagine your computer next day broke and your all code is gone. But it's not, because after every time you do something, change, you push it to GitHub. So it's like saving your work on a cloud. So that's pretty much. Okay, there are quite a few ways to do it. I don't think we're going to dig into complicated way with the command line.
No.
But in this case, you can import code. Okay.
So I guess she's saying she wants a folder called one.
Mm-hmm. So in your computer, we remember I said we should create a folder with your project, right? So in this case, we created created in my computer my project resume, and there are two files that I want to push here to GitHub, right? There are a few ways to do this. Do I have to use? Oh man, I have to use a command line only.
But you can't, because they don't use command line.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a few ways. In this case, we can download a GUI. One way is to do it with your code. Go to command line and write your code, but it's a bit complicated. So at this time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna download a software which helps us to do this with the buttons and clicks. So there are quite a few of them. I suggest. And because it has a GUI for every, what do you offer this? Just any. Oh, we can do this as well.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can do this.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
This software help you with what?
Okay, where did I lost my folder? Right. Yeah, okay. What do we want to do? I cannot do this until I have the first file. Okay. I do this. What you can do is create a file manually. You saw I did the. It allows me to. So it recommends me to create those initial files. But what we can do instead, we can click on there.
Yeah. Sorry, you want a README in there.
Yeah, but instead of README, we're gonna create a.
Why I keep the README?
Huh? Well, we can keep the README.
Yeah.
We can keep the README file. It's
But then they upload their HTML.
Yeah, but then okay.
Sorry.
GitHub suggests you create a README file. That's what we did in our repositories, and it's a file MD, so it's a markdown file. And it's just the description of your repo. So the moment we save it, we need to write a commit. I created a README. We don't need additional text. It's pretty self-explanatory. So we committed a file. So that's how GitHub works. Every time we do something, we commit something and push it to GitHub. So right now, you see my repository has one file, which is called readme.md. And it has a description, resume, my work, right? So
Okay, so everyone needs to add a README.
yeah, that will be your first project, your homework, your resume, call it whatever. But the thing is that you can, every time you can update it, and it's a description. The cool part about README that every time you open your repo, GitHub will automatically open this here and show it here. So there's the same what happens. That's what we did here. Every time you go to HTML or CSS, our GitHub repo, there's this one file readme.md, and actually we automatically see it here. You see? So GitHub helps us to have some description for it. So.
And then how do you put the code? Do you just copy it?
So there are a few ways to upload, but we're gonna use the most basic file. So what you can do is either you create a new file or you upload
First,
files.
did everyone add a README?
Yeah, you all have something like this.
It's fine if you didn't. Did anyone have any trouble?
It worked out? Everybody has it?
I have a trouble because I haven't opened. Because I want to set my old email address.
Oh, you're not in GitHub?
Yeah.
Oh, you need
So-
to fix that. So you don't know the code?
I know the code.
Yeah.
But the email address.
Yeah.
It has to
Use it
verify.
normally.
Yeah.
So that one is not working. They say it's already available. It's already existing.
So you have
It is not coming.
so you need to recover your password. And
So I have to make a new email.
no, if you have an email,
There is someone using the same email name.
it cannot be.
It
I
has
don't
to-
need to sign.
So you have to say that you forgot your password.
Yeah, and it will they will send the password to your
No,
email.
I have an email. I have a Gmail.
Yes,
The one I just used that one.
Yeah.
yes.
It's not accepting. It just said like
just need to verify. That's what it is.
Yeah, so you go to your email.
You check your email.
Yeah, you check your email and verify it. No, I can help you out later on if you.
So you just forgot the password of that email.
So you can recover and it will send it. You forgot the password of your email? Oh, yeah, that's a different
When
problem.
I have made a new.
Okay, so this is a special case.
Yeah, well- Yeah, so when we have the files, we can, in this case, it's the most simple way to upload your homework. When you're done finished with your code, what we did here, we created our files. When we're done, we save everything. You check your browser if it looks the way you want it to look. And we go to we upload files. So that's the most simple way to do it. In this case, what I'm gonna do is just gonna drag these guys. You can also have folder structures. You can have multiple files, multiple folders, images.
When you put a folder, for example, you have one homework and different CSS and HTML in it.
For what my suggestion would be for each homework, for each project, you create a new repo. You can create as many repos as you want, repositories in your account. You can every time next weekend we have a different homework. You go in again repositories, you create a new one, you upload your files again. It'll be easier to see because then you're gonna have them in list here. Homework class number 1, week 1. Homework class number 2, week 2. So
Is there any YouTube video for how to set up this?
What was that?
to set up what repo?
Yeah, it's more convenient if we have any video.
Yeah.
From YouTube, then everyone maybe understand.
I'll can upload, but I'm pretty sure videos will show you the hard way to do it because eventually you'll learn it a better way to upload. This is the most basic way, but it's pretty easy. You create. I'll after the class I'll write a step by step how to do it. As you create. I think we have it in the description actually.
What's the usage of this resume work to make it here? What is usage?
Because
this
now
is-
you can
this
share
is
to
a-
everyone.
Yeah, this is a website, and we're doing it on my profile. You're gonna do it on your profile, and then later in next week, I'm gonna say on Slack. So, did you make your homework? And you're gonna say yes. Here's a link, and
And
you
you
can
give me
show
this.
me. Like you have it. I can go to a website and see your homework.
So it's like so right now what I do is just I'm gonna upload these files. They uploaded those files and I need to add a commit. I added my index
What's a
and
commit?
CSS file. Commit is something that is like my upload, and every time I do a commit, and add a description so I can see in the future what I did that time. So for instance, you committed and I uploaded files, right? So I can see that it's a description. I can see also the timeline. First, I created a README file, and I click here and I can see what I did. Okay, I added one file with then next thing I did is added my index and CSS file. Okay, I can see I uploaded two files, my index and my CSS, right? And that's the point of commit, so everybody could see. In this case, it's very easy. Imagine it's only you developing it, so it's only telling to yourself. But imagine all of us would work on one big project. For like Facebook, there's a whole website, but there's hundreds of developers work. So each developer commits and we merge code. So that's the point of GitHub, but we'll go there later. So right now what you need to know is that this is for your own sake to know what you did last time. After 2 weeks, you're going to go in here, and the more descriptive you give it a name, exactly what you did, the more easier next time you'll see what, yeah, I uploaded. And okay, right now.
Where do we find the homework that you will give us?
So the homework, you've been looking at it and doing it the whole day. The homework is this portfolio page, and before next Sunday, you have to add all the things it says. It has to have a picture. It has to have all the other things it says. So
class week 1.
week 1.
So I already
Just which one?
Just
wait, I'm on the wrong.
And then make MD.
Oh, come on. Am I? Yes. So
If you go to make.
yeah, this is where we have our homework.
And under step 3, assignment, you have to do all of this, and you have to have every single thing on your portfolio page.
It's not a lot. It's 20 minutes work tops.
Yeah.
Make it styling the way you want it. Find some CSS rules online. Do it the best way you can. If you have any problems, talk on Slack channel with others. Ask questions.
I just have a question regarding this GitHub. How can we get hooked up with the CSS Hack Your Future CPH? Because
I posted the link on Slack. So
Yeah, Slack has links for it.
right now what I did on Slack is actually, oops. Okay, let's see. If you go to our Class 4, right? I hope everyone is here. You can open a channel details. This is where you can see all the members of and I pinned 2 items. So I pinned some information. So
Where did you find the channel details?
over here.
Okay.
So we click here, it opens a sidebar where you can find some information here. And I'll be pinning some information that is necessary for you guys. So for instance, when you click here, it will open your record. We see it already here on the screen, that's why it doesn't jump, but next time we'll just jump directly to this place. So there is links to our HTML and CSS course, so you can find all the information for each class, and also information to our curriculum. So be sure to go to HTML here. It will open this link right here, and then you can see every week's what we're gonna do, all the information. So go to week 1, you'll find what's it about, and also makeme.md, and this is where all what we did today is. And this is gonna be the same every week. So every week we do something, you can go and find each week and see what we did in class, assignments, homeworks. These files will change, but we will notify if they change in the Slack channel. So
today the homework is not so big. It's not a lot you have to do for the homework, and that's because the biggest part of the homework is that you have to learn about using GitHub. And we think this is a big task, but you will do it, we're confident, and you can always ask us for help. You need to know how to navigate this, because that's what we do all day as developers. We use GitHub all day.
Yeah. If you ever need to work in the future, I guarantee you they're gonna keep their whole code in GitHub. You'll have to learn eventually to learn it and really learn it good. So that's the first baby step. So that's how we're gonna start. It's the first rule. So yeah.
So the task here is making up the profile.
Yeah.
Then you upload it to GitHub.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's like the one more component to it. It's this upload the files and then it's the pages thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that they can see their page live. Yeah.
Okay.
Another
Another cool feature that GitHub allows us to do.
And
Guys,
which is also
attention.
again like this is and the second part of handing in your homework. It's not enough to put your homework put your files inside GitHub. You also have to make sure that you post them so that we can see your page, how your page looks, your portfolio page.
So we created our home resume, right? And we created in a master branch. But GitHub allows one trick feature. If you have a very simple website that doesn't require any JavaScript or any databases, you can create it in a different branch. Branches in GitHub is just like, you know, tree grows and it has branches. So that's how your code goes. It goes from one line, main developer branch, and you can create versions of your file, of your code that you can, it's hard to explain, branch out and later on branch in. So it's like you create a second version of this code and you maybe want to have it slightly different. And in the future you can combine them again. But in this case, what we want to do is create a branch here. Yeah, but I need to call this. Where is it? Where is it?
Bring it down. GitHub pages.
Oh yeah, GitHub pages. Where's GitHub pages? Where is GitHub pages? Okay, do I need to find GitHub pages? In the settings? Okay, so settings. Options, GitHub pages. I think they removed the GitHub pages.
But you really need to make a branch for that?
Yeah, it used to be, but
Yeah.
apparently. Yeah. Pages? So, guys, bear with us. Ah, yeah, here it is. La, la, la. Public site. Settings.
Settings in repository.
Theme chooser. Ah, now it from scratch. Yeah, we create. So that's what we did. We created an index file. We uploaded, and yes, commit file. We did this. We committed file. Master branch. Oh, we just can go there directly right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what we did is already supposed to work. Oh, where's our branch? So
Okay, so we are on my page, right? And we made a new repository, and we uploaded the two files, the HTML file, the CSS file, and now we want to see this as a website.
So GitHub, as I said, if we create file that's called index.html, if you don't create index.html, it will not work because browser will only open index.html file first. You can write your nickname that you registered .github.io.
It's JC after you know.
What?
You know JC?
What? No, is it correct? No.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And then we, what was the name of my repository? It was like resume homework. And what it should do, it should actually just open my project. Well, let's see if it does. Okay, I did a mistake actually. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have actually
You have a?
Yeah.
Okay, so it redirects. So
yeah.
It should work. I don't have.
Which is currently down.
Well, it should work if you've done what we did, because she already has a one website that redirects in her account. But for you, it should work as if. Did anyone upload an HTML file?
Yeah.
Anyone? Did you? Can we try it on your computer? Actually, it should work.
You all need to upload your HTML and CSS files.
Yeah, and if you need to update them, you can easily just go and update.
Oh, it's still uploading. Sorry.
No, it's not uploading. It's like coding or something.
That's
Should we just make a dummy one like in here?
You can make a new one later, but you need right now you need to try it. While we can still help you. Just so that you know how to do it when you have to do it at home.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like this. Yeah.
So the one I mean this email address I normally use.
Just copy
The normal email address I just use. So when I just, 2 days ago, wanted to create the GitHub. So when I put in the email, they said invalid email address. They say that you have to make another email address. Just something like that. Now I have to change it. This email address, so I just want to call it present.
It must be an email address you have the access to.
Yeah, this one.
Great, so create it.
Okay, it says you don't have any HTML file there.
So what should I do?
You do. Oh, but you call it. You have a resume, and there's no HTML, and there is no HTML file there. You need to upload it there. So right now,
Not the folder you made.
yeah, but I don't think it's gonna work for this. Yeah,
Slash the folder name.
maybe.
انت حفظت وما يطلع معك
But you need to, what's it? How do you say it? Yeah, it's
Project development.
sorry.
Yeah.
But it doesn't allow you. So your HTML is right there.
I don't have the time to do this.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you. So if you have your HTML pages,
Yeah.
maybe in this folder,
Okay, that's
should
fine.
work
That's fine.
To upload, try.
It's fine. But perfect. You did that. Very nice.
yeah. So you can upload it and create a readme.md file. Right now you need to upload your HTML and CSS here as well. But when you're done on your computer coding. So when you code it, upload it here and you'll be able to access it via the link.
So
The way it says in the tutorial.
thinking
You can
that
follow the tutorial. I know it's now a bit complicated because it didn't work on that computer. But if you at home can follow the curriculum, it's a step-by-step guide how to do this. So if you do it, it should work. Yes?
You need
You create 2 repositories, 3 repositories. Resume, 1 resume, presentation.
it didn't work.
You go to your why did you already created 1, 2, 3 repositories? So you go to your repository. Let's say okay, so what you need to do is create a file. Click on renew. And it says, okay, you're gonna create a new file over there.
edit profile.
Fine, keep it readme. When you go down to the bottom, just put down your give it what is this commit doing? I create this. You explain what you did right now. What you're doing. Yeah, just not the file, just call it. Also, I created a readme and I commit.
And then you call it, did you say?
And just commit the file. So you can see now in your repository there's 1 file right now. Probably you want to upload your HTML.
I'm not.
So now you can upload those files and then you can access them via GitHub.
It didn't work with me.
It didn't work? Yeah.
So como el modelo banca ya no va ni la navia, na ko again. So como lo kuna.
Oh, you can always go into GitHub back here. So you want to do is
نعم نجيب بس كنا سألتني بس أنا
but when you do it, you need to also do a commit. Then delete and you say like, I'm deleting this file, and when you press commit, then it'll be deleted.
Isn't it like, this one should work, right?
Yeah, I know, that's the same over there. I did the same, it didn't work. But it seems maybe they changed the description, right? Okay, let me see. Maybe GitHub did something that they changed and they lied to us. It happens a lot.
Those liars.
Yeah, those liars. So the tutorial is here, like. we did create a file. We did create it in our project. We created index HTML. We did. We committed the file to master branch.
We kept it as readme.
No, no.
We didn't.
Oh, I did. I mean, you need to call. Okay, we can have it readme, and we have. So right now, let's say we can have a repo. We can. I have readme, but then also upload an HTML file. You have to have index.html, and then we create. To create that one. And then when we commit that file, what we need to do? Okay, we still need to do this. GitHub. Okay, yes, that's what I did not do. Sorry, I will change your for the sake of this project. Okay, can I? Where is it? It's supposed to be here. What I need to say that okay, GitHub pages should use that master branch for. Click in the settings tab, scroll down to GitHub pages section. GitHub pages section. Where is it? Oh yeah. So what you need to do in your repository, you need to go to settings. Forgot to tell you.
Everyone goes to settings.
It's the last thing I forgot to tell. And you scroll down till you find GitHub pages. And what you do is say like, hey, use my master branch to show my code. And you click save. Settings. And again, go down to, yeah, because all our code is in the master branch. So, and select that master branch should be the one that you, and look, it's already said that, hey, you can visit your website here. We just published it. So we click here and okay, you have a really annoying redirect. And it should open your code, but in this case,
Hey, mine worked.
yay!
Yay!
So sorry for confusion, but
So the picture didn't appear though.
yeah, because did you upload your picture?
I did.
Is it the right link to the picture?
Yeah.
So try solve this at home. I'm pretty sure it's very easy to solve. It's pretty easy. What you need to do is edit your HTML and see if you include your picture the right way.
Yeah, but it worked before. It just when I uploaded it on GitHub.
Yeah, but that's very often that comes that it does work on your computer, but when you put it online, some links are broken. Somewhere you made a space that in your local machine it did work, and there it did not. Did you upload your image as well? You sure?
Upload
To GitHub.
Oh.
How GitHub does not have access to your computer. The image needs to be together with HTML file.
It's like
yeah, but that's the part of learning. So it's step by step. I will put this as well. Guys, I will add this. Okay, I will add this step by step how to upload your page to our Slack channel. So so you can do it as well. Again, did it work for anyone else? It did work for her. Does it work for you? Okay, I'm glad. So this is how I expect to. You do work on your HTML and CSS at home. You upload it, and I would like to see it next week. Some links that you post on Slack, so we could all see. I'll do my resume as well, so we'll see some competition now. Exactly.
yeah, that's it.
It does work, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, look, at image works as well.
Yeah, but I got.
So maybe with some
Wait.
I clicked here.
you can edit here, but
Delete it, but it's still there. So, but yeah.
you just needed to refresh. Okay. So, but work on your computer first. Make it beautiful on your computer, and then you upload it here. So.
It's better to do change.
Yes, here. Because you see, it's color here. It's GitHub is just where we keep the code.
So I uploaded the file.
Mm-hmm.
The picture, the HTML, CSS. And then I open
Personal file. Yeah. Go down, just arrow down.
It still doesn't come up.
So, what do you need to do now? Try inspecting elements. Remember, I showed you like do this and you do inspect element. We can use Firefox, right? And where's the console? Okay, it doesn't say that missing or anything. So you can see all your photos, the image. Could not load the image.
it's too perfect.
Wow. Alright. Yeah, it's also before tag. What you can do though, you can always try it. Okay, there's no file. There's not file. Find file.
It does not file find.
Wait, it's not find the file. Sorry. Sorry for my bad English. Okay, you do have it here. It is here. It's uploaded. Okay. Why did you want to show me?
What is the problem?
Maybe this needs to just refresh. What if we try to do this? Check it out.
But you can still like
I know it sounds like gibberish, but that's what I did. You see, there's not updated yet.
Yeah.
Amen. لا لا بعد اي شيء مثلا سويت هيك شغله بسيطه جاي انا لسه بعد بالبروفايل
I don't know. Maybe try putting in the folder and then updating links to the folder. I don't know. Actually, cheat show. So try something. Try to be creative. Play around with relative paths, and yours does work, right? And it's the same way, right?
Come no, what one?
It's
Are you sure everything is correct?
I think maybe because how do you post your image? Go down a picture. What's that? Index. There's a pic. So maybe allow GitHub to reload these things takes time. Anyway, so okay, but guys, is it clear what's the homework? Some of you may be already halfway there, right? But if it's clear the homework, that's what you have to do. But there are a few other last things I want you to do during the week. I'll remind you in the middle of the week, but I want you to use available tools online to ask questions. For instance, if you have questions, it's not only me, but there's plenty of places on the internet to work. I want you all to create an account on Stack Overflow. If you heard about the website, Stack Overflow. This is a website which you need to learn to use often because I use it often and very much a lot.
But it's a very complicated website.
It's not a complicated website
I
at
tried
all.
it.
What you need to do is it's a very pretty simple question and answer forum. So I guarantee you every question you have, somebody already asked there and at least 20 people answered. So the point is that this is like a database of questions and answers relating to code. So for example, if you have questions about centering items with CSS, you can easily find, for instance, how to horizontally center a div in another div. I guarantee you'll have a lot of those questions.
That question before.
Oh, whoa, what the hell happened? What the hell? I think he turned on his Chromecast. What the hell? That's not my screen.
I think something.
Yeah, exactly. So, the thing is, I want you all to create an account here and ask questions, look for questions, and when you have questions, ask them here. I guarantee you it's maximum 2 days and somebody will answer it, or at least give you a link to another question. So before writing and asking everyone and spamming all of us in the chat, I'm here to help. I'm definitely here to help on Slack. There's plenty of places where I guarantee your question is already answered. Just, I need you to, and when you create your account, I would like you to have to post me your link, your account link. Then remember user. Okay. Hello. So what is the Stack Overflow? Okay, so that's another Stack Overflow. What is my? Okay, so this is my account. I would like you to all post me this link so I could see what you've been looking and what you've been asking questions. You know, that's just the progress. I'm not wishing you to ask questions there, but I would love to have to see what you know. I ask a lot of questions all the time. It's normal to ask questions about coding because we all get stuck. So the thing is, this is one of the best resource there is ever. So that's my tip. So I'd be really glad if I see you being active there. So do that. And yeah, of course, when you're working on your website, please post the links on the Slack channel so we could help each other. So I want a group of people, but oh, so that's the one thing. Cool. Or we should do it tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The problem here, remember I told you that it will only open if you have index.html file. You always have to have first file for the website is always called index. If you don't have it, GitHub will not. It will look in your repository, your GitHub pages for index. It will not find index.html. No, you should just rename your file to index.
Now, CSS flow.
I just click in here to open it.
And it's not what you want to do it here. The CSS flow doesn't change.
The code is on a lot of mistakes. It will not show as well.
Now,
I see.
put your name. What's the number?
Have one H1.
Let me see this way.
Yeah.
On which let me see your
Now you can hear. And now if you create a GitHub page, it should show that. Yes. I would love to have some time to look at it. The earlier you upload, the more chances that you'll get good feedback from me. Just let me see. See if everyone's not stuck in anything. Does it work?
It works with you have to connect
CSS, named it CSS,
It is smaller. We already talked about it.
yeah, I thought the dot is to get it to the full.
No, dot is it says what kind of type of file it is. It's a cool. Thanks. So I'm looking forward to see some style resume. Thanks.
Is there anyone that has to leave right away? Stay for a few more minutes for doing one last thing. We created HTML. No, not really. Yeah, I know, but I know. If you have the waiting for everyone just to do it, to divide people. But at home, I expect you to finish it, and then I always have one person that you can makes sense together. Like on top of a little bit. So I know that we're not finished HTML. You will look. We already have something. It's also good practice to see that you have a lot of being a developer. Also need to look at other people's code and understand the code that you can upload your. And then you learn also why it's good to write anyway. HTML is like an unstructured way, so you can find your way.
You'll see other mistakes. So you don't fall in it.
You don't fall in it. Yeah, you learn from other just upload example. But it's the first time we're trying to compare people upload. So we'll see how it So we need to say what you did. It's all very You always say what you did. So what did you do? So if you kind of turn off your seat, then you understand what you did. It's only for your own decisions.
How's it going here? Did you manage? And did you able to see the page live?
Yeah.
Can you show me? Really good. You did it too. Very, very good.
English station, English.
That's what you have.
كان مشكلة تاع CSS.
لا لا الاسم انا كنت كاتبه غلط.
So every time you update your HTML, it should show there. So read me. Yes. So when you do your homework, you upload your HTML. I need you to send me this. Just I want to see your website. So when you send me that, we will put a snack to everyone. Yeah. Thank you. So we need to let CSS can you find go to your But what's going to be easiest way? You're going to give us GitHub page and everything. Okay. The last thing we learned is how to upload a GitHub page for shared page. There. And then you can part with you download it and then you look at it in the other how you haven't talked about how to actually use it. So let's maybe let's check each other's let's check each other's maybe more time we can also explain that I guess.
Say
It seems like everyone's halfway to the page. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, let's just make it.
أنا أول شيء أما يعني بالنسبة
Right. I think some people already have to go home soon-ish. So like, there was this one thing that we wanted to try this time. Hey, maybe can you listen for a second? So for the homework, to give a bit more like feedback and to learn a bit more about like also what other people's code looks like, we were thinking that all of you get paired up in teams of 2. So then you will check the code of your partner, and your partner will check your code, and you can give one another feedback on that. I think that's a really good exercise to kind of learn how like another person's code looks like. And so I'm just gonna select some teams real quickly, and then you'll just remember that, and then you can share the code on Slack. There's no rule to how you do that yet, but so you can download it and send it via Slack, or you can send it via GitHub. But it's just about seeing it from the other person. So I would just say we do it like you sit together, but then you can say like if it's problematic, because I know like Isaac, I don't know, you live quite far away. Maybe that's a problem, but let's just say Obadullah and Isaac, you go together in a team. You guys go together in a team. Then you guys go together in a team, and Masi and Mehdi are in a team together. You're also in Alstom, both of you, but then you can go together. Also, I mean, that's easy. And maybe you guys go together. And do we have 4 people left over?
Who's left for that team?
Yeah, then maybe you 2 guys go together. Saad and Jad, and then Sabadul and Hadi go together. Okay. Then Zabdul and Mohammed Baklo go together. And also, I meant to say, sorry if there were so many Mohammeds, so sometimes I just took.
So
is it okay that I just put the Zahid and the Jad sign?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we stick with Zahid and Jad? Is that fine? Okay. Cool.
So I want to just ask everyone now to point at the person they are together with for making homework. Point at the person.
No.
Okay.
Okay, this side is fine. You're good? Yeah. Mohammed, you're together with Zabadul. Yeah. And then Suleiman is together with Hadi.
Okay.
So that's the teams. Got it?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
And I'm going together with Obama.
Correct. I mean, that's one way of putting it. But, and then, yeah, let's just leave it at that for now. And then from next week on, I think we're going to have like a class representative every week. So that's like one person from the class who kind of is responsible of like saying, what was the homework again? Because usually every week there's some people who didn't understand where to find the homework or like didn't understand like what the homework was exactly. So there's going to be one person every week. But we're not going to start this week because it's been such a messy session with so much new information. So we'll start for next week, I think. And everyone knows their team. And, you know, if you have a question, both of you in the team can't solve it, then of course just write it in Slack. And just use that a lot. I think it really helps a lot. I think the people who use Slack the most are also the ones that do best in the program.
Didn't skip anything. We just said we want to group people to choose. So when you're done, when you upload your code, so you can check each other's code. We will check as well, but it's nice to know that you learn from each other.
Yeah.
Now it's easy. Now it's pretty easy task, but in the future it'll be really relevant to check each other's code because you'll have the same problem to solve, and you'll see that everyone will solve it their own way. Yeah. You always see sometimes when you do something and it does the same, it works the same, but your code is entirely different. It'll be pretty interesting to see that people think differently, and you can solve many problems differently. So it's very important to check each other's code.
Generally, the whole programming thing is really interesting.
I'm glad to hear. I think so too. So,